Okay, now, you have been given a lot of foundational things this weekend. How do we take them into the future? What do we do with them? We've got a panel coming up that simply are experts right now, doing big things in our market, who are going to come and talk to you about how do you move this forward into the future. So our next panel is building a future-proof business. My personal friend, mentor, and business coach, moderator Christine Beckwith, who's the president and COO at 2020 Vision for Your Success. I'd also like to welcome our panelists, Mike Kortas, CEO at NEXA, and David Landsman, VP of Sales at Lantern Real Estate Group here in Georgia.
It's cold.
I know. Thank God they gave us these scarves and hats. Who wants one? And the scarf. Because I got so hot back there wearing that thing. I feel great now.
It is
Who wants
cold,
a scarf?
Right? I'm keeping my scarf on. How's everybody doing? Good, good. I have the honor today to be talking to these two fine gentlemen. Jackie just introduced them, but I want to say their names again. And this panel is about building a bulletproof company, being different, growing, and what it entails. So we're very excited to unpack. And we have both mortgage and real estate represented. So you have here David Landsman.
And bulletproof.
Yes, and bulletproof. David Landsman, Vice President of Sales, Lantern Real Estate Group. David, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your background? We'll start there.
Yeah, my road to real estate was a little bit different, or maybe the same as some of you. I came from a different industry. I was in the medical equipment supply company industry. Lost everything one day. I was kind of focused on profits and not people. And I think it's been kind of a theme for the last 2 days that people are the most important thing in all business. And because I was so focused on profits, I ended up losing everything down to the last couple $100. And I was like, we're all entrepreneurs, right? Anybody that's a realtor or in a mortgage company, we can kid ourselves, but we're actually all entrepreneurs. We all run our own businesses. We all run them differently to be successful. And I said, what business can I start for the least amount of money? And I came up with real estate. I got my real estate license for like $150. And I was literally, the first day, was handed $300 trillion worth of inventory that was absolutely free. All I needed to do was go find buyers, customers, and connect them with that product. It was the least expensive business that I could run. I went and bought some business cards because I have a Bachelor of Science in Mathematics, and I did the numbers on it, and I thought that was the easiest way for me to put my name in as many people's pocket as possible. So I went and stood in the mall at the food court and started handing out business cards until someone said, I want to buy a house. And to this day, I preach that you should hand out 100 business cards every single week. Just doing the numbers on it, I was able to capture at least one client a week. That's 4 a month. I was doing about 40 to 45 houses a year under that for just a couple cents. So that's how I got started in real estate, and I kind of teach all my agents that to this day. We had a brokerage meeting the other day, and there's a youngster that just got his real estate license. He was sitting there, and he was dressed in a suit and tie. He looked great. And I said, where are you going? He said, I'm going to the mall after our brokerage meeting to hand out business cards. And I'm like, are you serious? I mean, my heart melted that he did that. But I think he walked out of there with like 2 or 3 clients that same day. And when you think about handing out business cards and getting business like that, you know, how many of us are spending thousands of dollars a month on our marketing and come away every single day with 2 or 3 clients? Not many.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I can't wait to unpack and dig in. I'm going to ask some tough questions in a minute. Mike Kortas, CEO, co-founder of NEXA. Mike, tell them a little bit about, for anyone in the audience that doesn't know your background, how you started NEXA.
How we started NEXA?
Yeah.
So we started NEXA because we searched hard, long and wide for what I felt all loan officers deserved. It's commonly said that I'm not the CEO of NEXA, I'm the CEO because I think like a loan officer, so I don't think like an executive.
I like
Just peruse my Facebook, you'll see that shit. You'll see the fights. But we couldn't find what I thought was suitable, that I thought I deserved as a self-producing independent loan officer. So when there wasn't a gas station within 500 miles, what do? You build a gas station.
Yeah.
And we built what we feel is and 1,400 of our loan officers only 4 years later feel is the absolute strongest thing that an independent self-producing loan officer could be a part of.
Yeah. You know, I think so all of us are entrepreneurs, and I think the key ingredients, like we've been hearing over and over from the fabulous speakers that have been up here in the keynotes, having started a few companies myself, the trajectory from 0 through the first few years is terribly difficult. There's a lot that it takes. You have to have a vision. You have to have a plan. You have to be willing to fight through the hard stuff. So you both have successful businesses, real estate, mortgage. So I want to ask about the future of Bulletproof right now. It's 2022. We have a market shift going on right now. I've seen some of the keynotes. I know my keynote the other day on Culture Day talked about the economic pivot a little bit, where you're fishing from this year, how that looks different. We have new problems we've never experienced before right now, some that we have. How does your business become bulletproof for the future, and what would you give as tips? And now I'm going to ask the same question of you after David goes.
Well, I think when people start brokerages, I think the problem is that when the owners of those companies started out, they think about the money first, right? And that's why my medical business failed, is because I didn't think about the people first. And so for us, we started off with the agents at the top of the list. They were the most important component, because without them, you can't have a business, right? We're not going to have anything. So we didn't start with what commission split are we going to start our brokerage with. And I think a lot of brokerages, that's the first thought. Are we going to do 90-10? Are we going to do 100% commission, 70-30? And their eye is on the prize, on the money, right? It's not that agent. We kind of went the complete opposite way. We made a one-of-a-kind app for the agent's phone where they can manage their entire business. They can order title. They can connect with their lender. EPM, Jamie is our guy. So the minute that one of our agents wants to connect a client with a mortgage lender, they just push a button and it instantly goes over there. When they want to order a home warranty, they push a button and it goes over there. Egypt the last keynote speaker kind of hit on it, right? And some of us, I felt like in the room, I could feel the fear a little bit when people, when we're talking about Zillow and Amazon, all these people taking over. What we did at Lantern is we kind of built a mini model of that, right? Mm-hmm. So is it a bad model? No. We don't have to reinvent the wheel at any time, but she also said at the end of that the boutique brokerage is going to be the ones that are going to survive, right? So you give this, for real, if you're at a boutique brokerage, if you're giving great service to your clients, do that. But what we did within our app and within our brokerage is we made a mini Amazon. We made a mini Zillow. So our clients don't have to think about it. It's a one-stop shop where they come in to work with our agents. They don't have to leave. And the next thing that we did is, again, focused on our agents. And there's always grumbling. I've been at every brokerage. Some of them I've left on my own. Some of them I was asked to leave. Some of them I was fired from. Actually, funny story, my business partner, one of them, actually fired me from one of the brokerages. And he on the way out, he left me with a rising tide raises all boats. And that's the theme for our brokerage, is that, if you're a great agent and you're part of our brokerage, share your knowledge with everybody else, and vice versa. We want everybody to get together as a group. If you don't come together, I don't care what brokerage you're at,
you want everyone
anybody else is, you're going to fail. Mm-hmm. Help everybody out. And so within our brokerage, what we did is, again, when it focused on the agent, all those ancillary businesses, the renovation company, the mortgage company, the home inspection company, we're kind of owners in all those pieces.
Revenue streams.
And so a lot of the profits at the end of the year go into a bucket, and then we share half of those back to the agents at the end of the year. So now our agents are business owners with us. They have a vested interest in it. So for me, I look at it, when you ask me how do I future-proof and bulletproof my business, it's now I have 100, 200, 300 business partners that are going to help grow my business.
It's awesome. Excellent answers. I'm hearing culture. You always think you're going to hear something magical by successful people. And really, it's the key ingredients. It's perseverance. Yeah. It's overcoming. It's staying the course. It's working hard. And all of those things play such a big role in companies being able to advance. Culture, obviously, being one as well. I would say adversity, right? Doesn't adversity make us, really challenge us to rise above? Some of the times myself I can share that I had great adversity allowed me to pull back, to accelerate afterwards. And in hindsight, I became very thankful for those things that came to challenge me. So I hear that in your story as well.
I think, too, what you said earlier about like starting a business, right? When you first open up the doors of your business, you're so excited. Like I can remember being an agent and going into the office every single day. I was so excited. My business didn't grow, and then nothing happened. It was like, wait a minute. And I think a lot of business owners, I'm sure when you first opened up your doors, you were so excited. Everybody's on cloud 9, and then it's like, wait a minute. And there's that lull for the first couple years.
Yeah, leadership
and then it explodes.
It is, and the trajectory of businesses are hard, and I think that leadership, when you're called, it's easy to be a fair weather leader. When things are good, when things are growing, it is very easy to water it. It is so much harder to find the right voice in times of hardship. I have also learned when you have enormous explosive growth that the aesthetical pain of that can feel similar to bad problems when they're good problems. But you still have to be able to show up and answer to those growing pains and evolve and lay the tracks out.
I could talk about exponential growth problems.
Yeah, let's talk. Let's talk with Mike for a minute and shift over to you.
And by the way, I got fired from a really good company right before I opened up NEXA Mortgage.
Oh, I wonder who that is. It's funny how it goes all full circle, isn't it?
It's all right.
You got a scarf.
You have obviously an enormous brokerage and exponential growth, and I see it firsthand working with you. How do you prepare your organization for future bulletproof
Well, look,
business?
we told them a long time ago, future bulletproof of the business, because look, realtors, you guys have a lot of concern and heartache over the iBuyers, Zillows, and we have some of that heartache too. We're concerned that our referral partners, but mortgage companies, I mean, are being built in the last 2 years off of refinances, and that ship is going to sail. It's gone. I don't even care if the rates don't go up. Everybody's already done it. So you have to focus. Now I hear everybody talking about, okay, well, we got to go after cash out rate. Well, that's great, but it's going to be a much limited pool of business. And I got some really bad news for a lot of people who actually think you're going to completely survive off cash out refinances. Good luck. We're going to eat your lunch. It's going to be over with. We've been built off purchase for a long time. Back in 2013, there's a refi boom going on. When I was an individual loan officer, I never gave in and said, hey, let me just go out and market to every single refinances. I had partners who were relying on me. I had real estate agents. I said, the hell if you think I'm going to give up my guaranteed solid base of business. I'd never, ever deviated from the purchase market. I never deviated from my realtors. Help me out, realtors. How many loan officers are calling you up, giving you a free coffee and lunch right now?
Yeah.
Because they're freaked the hell out that all their refinance business has gone away.
It's true.
And are you going to stick with the loan officer who stuck with you when everybody else was out taking that easy refi money? When the loan,
Purchase is always sustained, 30, we can go back 35 years, at least from my seat, started when I was 8 years old. and purchase has always been there. It's sustainable. And this year, I think, great executives running companies, and certainly Eddie and his team, when markets like we just came out of are distracted to mortgage origination anyways, with a rate and term, when rates are going down, that's always the enemy in some way. It's quick, shoot the fish in the barrel, but it can really distract you from your core business. So of course, everybody's leaning back in this direction this year. I also think cash out is going to go to the victors of those people here that can overcome the common objections of the same type of person that was refinancing last year. But I will say this, you have to have market strategies this year that is pulling the wealth strategist refi person, and you have to be listening to people that can tell you how to overcome those objections and loan officers need to learn what those things are that are common. And this is a beautiful market. We've waited for a market like this in the mortgage side for 15 years. Our homes didn't have value 15 years ago. So this is not a scarcity. This is a pivot, and you have to have certain strategies. But to your point, you're going to have purchase. You still are going to have a little cash out refi.
Well, I think cash out refis are great.
Yeah.
Cash out refinances are going to get people through.
Yeah.
They will. If you're doing a lot of refis now and you're going to shift that to cash out refinance, especially with some of the strategies that your coaches teach, yes, you'll get through. But if you don't figure out how to get into the purchase market, now that you're behind the ball and other loan officers have already been making those relationships, you're not going to thrive. You'll get through until the next round of refis, but if you want to thrive, you've really got to pick up that purchase-based business. You've got to establish those deep relationships with realtors, and you better be different. We talk about that for bulletproof.
Yeah, so
right?
that's
Being
where I'm
different.
going. You're cueing me perfectly. I want to talk to you both about the importance of differentiation, but I also want to talk about thriving. And I want to talk about what that feels like because, I'm not afraid to say, knowing Mike, that he's controversial, on social media. And yeah, I know, it's hard. I'm breaking the news here. You heard it here first, everyone. And what that feels like, because, at the end of the day, I know you on a human level. I know you on an intimate level, for business. I'll start with you and we'll come over to you, but being different, being willing to push, to recruit from a market that sometimes has you stepping on the toes of some of your peers, to be that gangster, to push. Like anytime that you have that vigor, you're going to upset the apple cart and you're going to get pushed back. It's just scientific that you're going to do that when you push. I'm a pusher and I get knocked back a lot of times, but I wouldn't do that if I wasn't ready for that reaction. Tell us what that feels like.
If my peers are big box retail loan officers, then yes, I'm stepping on their toes. But I don't think that my peers are really brokers, and brokers do come at me harder than any retail company ever online, unfortunately. But what I mean by differentiating, I want to bring it down more to an individual production level, right? Because we could talk about how NEXA different. Like NEXA is very different. The only reason we have thrived so much and had so many loan officers come to us and stay with us is because of how different we are with all that we do for them. It just wasn't available in the markets that we saw. But what I'm talking more about is loan officers. Help me out here, loan officers. Who has the best rates in the business? You talking to a realtor, you telling him you got the best rates in the business? Hold on. Are you saying you have the worst rates in the business then? Right? But realtors, help me out. Do loan officers tell you, I got the best rates?
Every time.
Every fucking time. I got the best communication skills. I'm going to answer my phone every time. I close on time. Which loan officers ever came to you and said, hey, I don't exactly have the best rates for your clients?
Ever.
My communication is going to be good, right? And I usually close on time. I mean, look, and is that their spiel? And then they say, by the way, can I take you to a cup of coffee? Could we just 5 minutes of your time, right? Guys, you got to be different than that. I mean, everybody is saying that. If you're a loan officer and that's your spill, just nagging the living crap out of the realtor will get your number blocked. Right. So you've got to be different. You've got to come with some value propositions. What are you offering them, right? How many loan officers are providing their realtors with leads, right? When I was a loan officer, I never provided my realtors with leads. I heard about loan officers pulling that stupid shit. I said, I'm going to give you pre-qualified, ready-to-go buyers that I already know your name. Can we do business together? And I'll give you one first.
100%.
Right? That was the kind of differentiation that I would put into the game.
I think it's a confidence builder. Would you guys agree? If you have something in your toolbox that gives you the confidence to start a conversation because it's a conversation starter, leading with education, leading with something where you're providing value. Maybe we're constantly saying, why aren't you mining this year for people that should be selling their home? One of the things that are happening with the demand is that we have a sheltering effect caused by pandemic. And so now's the time that mortgage originators should be saying, call me the originator, if you're thinking of selling your home. Why? Because if you can be the third-party conversation, not the realtor who has a financial vested interest in talking that consumer into this being the right time to sell their home, but you can, and you can deliver that back to the real estate side. Now you're talking to me. Now you're not cold calling me.
Help them grow their business because they're freaked out that the iBuyers and the Zillow guys are there. So help them combat that. Help get business just like they're getting business and become a true partner to the agent.
Yeah.
Not just.
And that's kind of what we did with creating that app that we did, that one-stop shop, that our brokers. We wanted our clients to come in and be able to do everything from top to bottom, from getting, which we were talking earlier today. It's always been a little bit weird to me as a realtor that I would get a client on the phone, they're interested in a home, and then I'd say, hey, call this stranger up, and then call me back after you get a hold of them and got a pre-approval letter and things like that. And I get it, that's how business has been done. But if I'm going to open up a brand new brokerage, I have to be different than everybody else, right? Like most brokerages, I think we can admit, are about the same. The commission splits are about the same. The franchise fees, some of them have it, some of them don't. But there had to be something different, right? We needed to think outside the box. We had to come up with this new package. And I wanted a one-stop shop. I wanted a client to be able to walk in. They could be sitting there with the agent, the loan officer, the home inspector, even the closing attorney, and be able to do everything at one place, and there be no disconnect at all. And the most staggering statistic for me in our industry, real estate and mortgage, is that only 17% of realtors and mortgage loan officers follow up with their clients after the sale.
It's crazy.
That's horrible. That's shit. I mean, that's the worst statistic you could possibly think
Yeah.
of. So even in that, by creating this group of people that we've partnered with, right? It's really one company. Now we have 6 different companies that are doing follow-up.
Yeah.
And that's part of the deal. Like, you want to be part of our network, you're following up. You know, you're going to be in the 83%. You're not going to be the 17%. That's not following up. So now all of a sudden you have my realtor following up 4 or 5 times a year. You have my mortgage lender following up. Then you have our renovation company or whatever, our home inspector. So they're getting hit with every different place. And so we capture that client. And again, that's more, bulletproof in our company for the future, because if we're all following up, you win.
I love earlier when we had the young guy on stage. How awesome was that, by the way? I have a 16-year-old son, and I was thinking, I wonder if I can get him on stage. He probably won't do it. But I think it was really great to hear it, like, from the horse's mouth perspective of a young person's eyesight. And I've been saying for years and years, we tend to get that bitter old person, I'll speak for myself, mentality where, you get past listening to young people. I have gone the full circle on this, and in the last, let's say, decade, I've really been wanting to pull young people in. I love what they bring to the table. I love their vigor. I've watched the old guys snicker at the young guy with the suit that comes like ready to hand his cards out at the mall. And they're like, oh, just wait, he's going to become bitter and jaded. And I'm like, yeah, but he's not. He's not right now. He's anxious and he's hungry.
He is.
And so what that person does, the young woman, the young man, is it brings a level of competition inside the veteran pool. I love that shit.
That's what we saw.
Like, I love that shit.
Like, literally, I called him out. Like I said,
Yeah.
why were you dressed up like that?
Yeah.
He said, well, I went to the mall and did what you told me to do. And like everybody was like, it worked? He said,
Yeah.
I got 3 clients. I got 2 buyers, and I think I'm almost positive it was 3. I don't know if Frank's here right now, but it was 2 or 3 clients that he picked up, and everybody else in the brokerage was like, what? It works?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, you think I've been preaching this shit for the last 10 years and it doesn't work?
I hired a really young girl this year, and she had to do some clerical work, and I had her ordering some graphic design from marketing, and it was delayed. And the next thing I know, she sent the thing back, and it was done, and I was like, oh my God, they turned that around so fast. She goes, no, I did it. And I said, what do you mean? And she goes, I do graphic design. And I was like, oh. And so they jump in, they're problem solvers, they're, think outside the box. So it's, really something this year. There is a lot of young people, too, that got in this business the last year or 2 years. They're scared now because they cut their teeth on rate and term, and this market's pivoting right now, and they're like, now what? And they think it's 07, and it's not. So it's important as leaders, if you're in here, that you have those conversations and tell them. And they're the ones, by the way, that can make the pivot faster because they don't carry all that baggage of whatever we think as older people. I want to do one last round. We're behind on time. We're going to catch it up. We're going to do one last question. When you look around and you see people that aren't surviving or people that are struggling right now, this is a hard question, but I think this whole convention has been super real.
Yeah.
Who are the people that are failing? Who are the people that aren't getting it right, and why? Not names, but actual types or things. Yeah.
People who aren't grinding are the ones who are going to fail.
Yeah.
Like, you want to be a bulletproof business, you will be around next week, next year, 5 years from now, as long as you're out there every single day doing something, grinding, doing actual things, right? Perusing Facebook for seeing what your cousin is doing is not grinding, okay? If you're actually on Facebook trying to like things and interact with people that can actually get you business and in the right groups, that could be considered working, yes. But otherwise, picking up the phone, right? Sending text message to people, interacting with people. You got to grind. It's the ones who are claiming to be grinding. And look, I got 1,400 loan officers. I guarantee you about 600 of them are slackers, okay? And they're not the grinders. We're pushing them to be the grinders, to get up there, to catch up to the guys who are doing it. But they're the ones who are like, well, I've tried, or I had COVID, or you know what, I had COVID twice, right? My son, who had a 50% death rate, had COVID, and I never skipped a beat. Payroll never got missed. I didn't miss a meeting, right? And don't give me excuses why you couldn't work and grind it out for 4 months. Now all of a sudden you're desperate for a check, right? Continue to grind. That business is not bulletproof.
Right.
Yeah.
That business is on paper. It's flimsy. You gotta every single day. You stop grinding one day and you just set yourself
I
back
think you
2
also
days.
play the numbers game really well, having an intimate look at your operation. Like, you are willing to take risks. You are willing to say, I'll take these 10 people that say today that they want to do this, and if 4 don't work out, I'm okay. I'll replace
As long
them.
as they're paying for coaching.
Yeah. By the
If
way,
you pay for coaching, you can come to NEXA.
yes, that's
If
true.
you don't produce, you got to leave. Matt
That
fired
said,
300
though-
people last month.
Yeah, thank you.
But you're
Good
right,
luck.
exactly. Like an
Yeah.
agent came to me the other day and said, what's the difference between an average agent and a top producer? I said 90 minutes. 90 minutes. Because how many agents out there every day are not spending 90 minutes on their business? I mean, that's an hour and a half. I know people every day that they goof off watching television, or they're walking their dog, or they're doing a video on, and not that they shouldn't be marketing and doing TikTok and Facebook and all stuff like that. But I know agents in my brokerage that do not even spend 90 minutes a day on their business. If you spend 90 minutes a day on your business,
Yeah.
you could double your business. I mean, literally every day, look yourself in the mirror and say, did I work 90 minutes? And don't go to sleep that night. If you screwed off all day long and didn't do any work, and it's 10 o'clock at night, say, all right, you know what? I'll get ready for bed at midnight. I'm gonna put 90 minutes in. I don't care if it's writing handwritten notes. I mean, I tell every new agent that comes in our brokerage, write 3 handwritten notes every single day, and that's part of client follow-up. You could follow up with a past client, 90 minutes a day. You could cold call for sale by owners, 90 minutes a day. An hour and a half, and you will separate yourself from being an average agent and being a top producer.
What'd you say, 17%?
17%
If
of
you're in the
agents.
17%, you're bulletproof. If you're not, you're not.
Yeah. You know, we have a target that we say 4
they're
times.
full of bullets. If they're only 17%, they're not following up.
No.
80, oh yeah, I'm sorry, you're right.
17% are following
You're
up, right?
Yeah. 83%.
Yeah.
Then you're
So
full of bull,
83%,
right?
you're better than 83% of the people out
Just
there.
follow up.
For
We have a
working 90
target.
minutes a day.
Yeah, we have a target of 4 days a week, trying to do 4 hours. And I have to tell you, even with growth that we've had, I've always myself sat down to do those type of focused prospecting. I would think, I'll leave it with this. We call it work bursts. Where's our grinders, by the way? Let me hear you. I think it's all of you that came to this convention. Like, you're coming for the answers. You're coming to look for the ways. I'm sure you've all taken 1, 2, 3 things away. I have. I'm a super nerd. I sit in every audience. I sit there all day, and I think of ideas, and I have great ideas written down to take back for my operation. There's something called work bursts. Work bursts. We don't, as entrepreneurs, work and punch a clock, but when you get into that rhythm, when you feel that rhythm where you are feeling good, you're overcoming objections, you're able to make the calls, that feeling you get as a person that's in that spot, I would tell you to lean in. Lean into that. Self-recognize when you're in that moment. Sometimes you can stay in that pocket for 8, 10 hours. You can do a week's worth of work in one mental day of high focus and grind. Let's give these guys a warm thank you, and thank you for having us.
Appreciate you guys.
Awesome.